Good morning. I'm dual streaming today again. We're kind of doing this fun experiment of checking things out, and I am super excited that you're joining me. If you're actually joining me on time, nobody joins on time. So for those who are joining later, thanks for being here. Today we're talking all about energetic alchemy. And energetic alchemy in and of itself is may not be a term that you're familiar with, but the one piece that is one of my favorite things to talk about is essentially that everything is energy. And so today, talking about energetic alchemy, this is a phrase that I use. When you think about alchemy, think of like I actually like to think of it almost like a mad scientist. You know, alchemy is that magic. So almost kind of imagining that you're, pouring like beakers full of this magic potion into another beaker, and then the two are a catalyst. And ultimately, when we, the piece that I want to highlight here when it comes to alchemy is the catalyst. So, I'm not a scientist, but when you look at this scientifically, you can have a beaker of something, you can have a situation, you can have stagnant energy in your life or in your body, and that what you do then is you pour in a catalyst, or you mix in a catalyst, and then that's the thing that helps things move, that erupts things, that gets things transforming, essentially. And so what I came to realize actually in my own work is how much it is alchemy, how much actually what I do is so much energy work, in the sense that what I'm really doing with so many of my clients is this, just opening the doors of possibility. It's just, imagine literally just like countless doors and rooms that just go and just fly open. And that's the work that I do with clients, is where essentially where you could not see any doorways. You literally may have been in a room where you don't see any possibilities, or you might even see some, like one door, but it feels really scary. And when we're in this small and limited space, or we're feeling really stuck, we might, logically know some options, but our underlying belief systems or what have you are keeping us still really stuck in kind of thinking black and white, thinking that those options, those doorways, they're not going to be satisfying, they're not going to be the right thing. It's like we almost talk ourselves out of it before we get into them. And so, before some of you joined, what I was saying is that opening these doors of possibility, just like really opening these doors of possibility, not only shifts it from, wow, there's these one or two things and your mind still wants to argue with them and resist and pull, but that actually helps make it such that you realize any of those doors that you walk through is only going to continue to teach you and show you the way, and that there's no wrong door all of a sudden, that there's no pressure to have to actually choose the right door. And one of the things that I do with my clients, and what this energetic alchemy does is, because it's teaching you, and you're kind of, as you do this catalyst and it shows you, it has got a momentum and an energy of its own. And that is actually what then propels you to the next step. This is an area that for entrepreneurs and creative entrepreneurs, it's actually usually one of our superpowers. And it's probably why I do what I do, is even, if any of you guys have studied the Enneagram, I'm a 7 on the Enneagram, and one of the gifts and the benefits and the superpowers of being a 7 is this optimist. And so a lot of entrepreneurs are the eternal optimist, right? They're so good about being like, that's cool, we got that problem, I'm going to take care of that. And not always, mind you, there definitely are, shadow sides or unhealthy sides of the 7 and of every single Enneagram role. But the piece here that is really valuable is recognizing how you can start to have, you're not as attached, or you're not as afraid, you're not as shut down as believing that you have limited options or limited choices. And instead, when you open those doors of possibility, there's the catalyst that happens, the energy that moves is this one of possibility, this one of like taking what was, you know, your view that was so limited before, or was so closed down, right? It was so, and you can even, we talked about this on another live recently, where the energy is actually even that of like trying to figure it out, right? Where you're trying to figure it out. And that is a very like small, stuck energy. The energy of possibility and curiosity and experimentation, which is why I love bringing it into this like scientific mad science experiment, you know, where you're literally, you know, kind of pouring potions in one another, and then you find this catalyst that has this inertia and this momentum, and that then can send you through all these doors. I mean, basically it's like, it's so funny. I just had this imagery of almost like Willy Wonka style of having that energy where you're almost like singing and dancing through every door. Like, could this be it? It might be, you know, like, could this be it? It might be. I will not sing for you. It's very early in the morning, so my vocal cords are not even woken up. But it's that energetic alchemy. And I was talking with a collaborator the other day, and she said the most beautiful thing, which is that this is why we soundboard. This is why we brainstorm with people. This is why you hire a coach to listen. It's why you hire a therapist to listen. It's why you have people in your life that you can do this talking it out with, and really, because that's what moves energy. This is why we have meetings. It moves energy. So ultimately, when we talk about energetic alchemy, and when we talk about shifting you from stuck to feeling like you've got movement again, there is this catalyst in place. And so whether that be that you are talking it out with someone, or this is what my clients often hear me talk about, which is you're getting back into relationship with it. So all of you guys watching know how that is when it comes to maybe that you had a workout routine for a little while and then it fell off the wayside, and you haven't been focusing on it or doing it for a while, or maybe you had a great meditation practice, or maybe you're trying to write a book, or maybe you started a blog, or like something, right, where or maybe you were even like good with your budget for a while and your finances, but like something fell off, right? Something made it to where all of a sudden it wasn't getting your attention anymore, or it fell off you know, to your radar of like essentially what was getting your attention, essentially what was getting your love and your attention. So that's what my clients hear me talk about a lot, is like getting back into relationship with it. Sorry, I have something on my teeth right now. Okay, I got it. So yes, so essentially, you know, that's, if you, especially, I will say like a big one is if you have a project that's close to your heart and it's feeling really daunting, which this is when we procrastinate, right, is when we have some kind of emotional connection to it. This is when especially we just need to lovingly and gently get back into relationship with it. Because man, we will spend so much time like doing the thing where we're spiraling over here like, shit, you know, why am I not working on that? I suck. Like all those like stories that want to come up, we'll be talking about it with other people. Like, yeah, I can't figure out why, you know, I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Like we'll do every single thing else, you know, and even including, honestly, like, which, you know, if it's a gateway for you, awesome. But what I see so often happens is like, you know, people will make big elaborate plans. This is a great one actually for working out, right? Where how often is it that you haven't worked out in the longest time, so you're like, I need some new workout gear. That's what I need, right? You need new tennis shoes and a new workout outfit. And sometimes that can be the inertia that you need. It's like it just gives you that little like boost, or gives you some tools to go into this next thing. Like I was gonna say, like go into combat, right? It's like you're like, okay, cool. Let's like saddle up with what we need to go into it, and that can help. And even this is actually, you know, it's really interesting, right? If we look at how this energetic alchemy and our attention and our energy this is even the to-do list. And when you are regularly committed to your to-do list, it's when you're showing up to it every day. So if you've had times where you have been procrastinating, or you find yourself kind of like falling off of doing what you know you need to be doing, often you have made a to-do list somewhere, and whether it's like in your piles of your stuff on your desk, or in post-it notes, Or maybe you did actually like one day get a total kick of organization and you filled out Trello or Asana, and then what happens is that you're not in relationship with it. So it's coming back into relationship with it where every single day you're showing up to it, you're cracking it open, maybe you make it as the default tab on your browser to automatically open it, and you're committing to just simply be in relationship with it. And this actually happens in actual relationships too, right? If you've ever had a partner who is not around very much and then all of a sudden they get around and you're like, this is kind of irritating, like I'm not used to you being here. It's like you need to get back into relationship. And if you don't see your partner for a little while, you guys need to like have a date night so you can get back into relationship. And if any of this is resonating with you, I would love your likes and just to give me some hearts and show me that you're out there. So yes, energetic alchemy and the you know, the getting unstuck. You know, one of the pieces that I just love is that this inherent piece of working with a coach is a great example. I mean, I obviously know that is my work, but that ultimately what this comes down to is your intention. And when you're clear on your intention and your purpose, it's like breaking out a magnifying glass for what you want. And that so often you can have some ideas and they can be over here, you can, you know, whatever that is, but it's like, you know, maybe it is, it's like on the post-it notes that are lying around, and it really needs you to hold it with a really clear intention, have a continued and consistent loving and supportive relationship with that so that you've got it as a you know, a post-it that's right in front of you every day, but doesn't just become something that blends into the background, but that you actually make a conscious intention to read it every single day. And this is where actually if you start getting into some major visualization and affirmations, you want to also feel it in your body. You want to visualize it and feel this experience, right? This is all energy. It's all intention. This is the catalyst into your current experience that you are seeking and that you're wanting. So this never fails to happen actually with all the clients that step in with me, that first of all, even when they set the call with me, the initial call with me, because they have put that intention in receiving support, and they've put that intention in whatever's happening in their life that they want to like shift or bring some more energy into, whether that be more money, more clients, just feeling less unstuck, having more clarity. It is awesome. Every single time they're like, even since I booked in with you, this has been coming in, this is coming in, right? So it's just so powerful. And then when they even step in with me, same thing. Like mountains start moving, you know. And essentially what this is too is being able to like hire somebody that is on your side and in it with you. And you can do this in a lot of different ways. You certainly don't have to hire somebody, but that it's this catalyst. It's someone that's going to help move energy with you. It's like, you know, a massage therapist or an energy worker. They're going to help move energy with you. And to hire a professional who knows how to move energy, who knows how to, you know, what doors to open, how to keep us on track when there are so many possibilities. That's a lot of times what people come to me with. They're like, okay, I see 10 or 20 doors. Which one should I start with? Where should I go first? Which is a really exciting, fertile time that I love playing with, because that's when we really get to start putting the conscious energy into one thing, right? So this is kind of the interesting thing about all this, right, is that, take a drink, is that while you have one moment where you might be, it's like this spectrum almost, right, where one moment you might be experiencing no doors, no possibilities, super stuck, right? It's super dark. And that can be your experience where you're like, I need to figure this out, and it's a really small frame of reference that you're feeling. And it's kind of along this spectrum essentially where all of a sudden you can start seeing the possibilities, you can start seeing the choices. And initially the first step of those is that your lizard brain wants to be like, but that's never going to work, or you don't know how to do that, and you might as well just stay here. Like this is comfort zone, right? It's way more comfortable to be in this like shut down, stuck state with no possibilities, or this isn't going to work, that's not going to work, that's not going to work, because it keeps you safe. You don't have to move. You don't have to try and potentially fail or succeed through any of those doorways and pathways if you get to just, rest on your laurels in this comfort zone of it's never going to work, or I don't know what's going on. And so ultimately what I love to see, this is where I get, where it gets really juicy, honestly, is that if there is a stuck feeling, it's like, this is maybe where my mad scientist comes in. I'm like, cool, let's put a catalyst into this and like wake it up. Let's create some momentum and some inertia. And this is alignment as well, is that if you're feeling out of alignment, you're not gonna have that energy. It's literally as if, you have some kind of pain in your body. You don't have the energy like you would, that 100%, ability to go out there and like make it happen, to run that race and like shoot to the finish line. So when we get you back into alignment, though, what happens, it's almost like you unkink a hose, and all of a sudden you've just got this like inertia and this fountain of possibility, and you're no longer afraid of what's behind those doors, that you're actually like, let's just see. And it starts becoming this exciting, you are so aligned, with what your purpose is and your intention is, what your yes is, what you're wanting to create, that it just becomes so fun. And so such like this experiment, and also one that, because you are aligned, and what we're doing so much there is creating this really grounded trust in yourself. When you're out of alignment, it can feel really jangly in your body. It can feel really confusing, obviously, right? You're kind of in this possibly darker place. But when we clear that energy up, and there's that then flow that's able to really go out, then it's just like water, you can start kind of like splashing off things and dancing, and you can, evaporate and then condense again, and it's just so much more fluid, and that is flow. And it brings you back to that beautiful place of just being in the wonder of experimentation, and the wonder of life, and the wonder of non-attachment, to where you are just really trusting that flow, reveling in the opportunity to experiment and play. And so for all of you who have been working on something in your life, or wanting to create movement on something in your life, often even the things that we want to create movement on have a funny way of finding themselves like tucked in the back of the closet and not even getting looked at or loved on for a long time. And it's only when we can do this process, and you may need support with it, or it may be something that you are creating in conscious intention around. In fact, one of the best ways you can do on your own individually is to create and move some energy, or one of my favorite ways, I should say, is writing. And just taking yourself through a writing practice is powerfully self-coaching. And this is why, if you're familiar with the morning pages, this is essentially like the underpinning of morning pages, is that you're clearing off the top all this gunk that wants to think that it's this way and think that it's small, and that's not going to work. Fine, write it out. Get it out of your body, just like, whoa, onto the page, so that you can get it out, because then there's this wellspring that's waiting to come out of that, and waiting to come underneath that. So a lot of times what I'm doing with my clients is, peeling back the layers of this onion, or another way I even say it is like, imagine there's a floor with lights, like on the street. Sometimes you see those street lights that beam up, and yet all those lights have been covered with a whole bunch of leaves. It's like the back in the closet metaphor, right? Where they're all covered with leaves. It's been kind of like not tended to, so it's just been covered up with a whole bunch of leaves. And all of a sudden, as we start uncovering those, this light is start to shine through, and we uncover some more, and some more light shines through, and all of a sudden then the path is clear. So whatever way you choose to create a little energetic alchemy in your own life, and get a little movement and a little flow back in, whether that be a writing practice, talking it out with someone, working with a professional who either moves energy or is like this, this combination of talking and also like energy work. All of that is so, so powerful. Even if you just, pull a friend aside and say, I need to talk this out for a second, and move some energy and soundboard a little bit and brainstorm. All of that is really, really powerful. And then the one kind of structure, this structure is freedom element underneath this is this, what is your intention? And you may not even be able to get to that clearly until you clear off some of the leaves. So just be really compassionate and patient with this process, and know that you certainly have my support, and you can watch this again as well if you're wanting to just see if anything sparks again. And because what it will, this is, you know, a lot of this trusting this process, trusting, you know, the universe as kind of this powerful collaborator and co-creator in your own experience, is remembering that we have all these answers within us. And yes, it's beautiful I have lots of support that I call in because I don't want to do it alone, right? And I encourage, if any of you guys have the lone wolf tendencies, you know, to actually engage in the power of receiving support. There's many, many lessons within that in and of itself. But even if, you know, you're doing this on your own, to just recognize, what wants my love and attention a little bit more? What can I get back into relationship with? And give a little bit of more love and attention, and, you know, essentially infuse some energy into it so that it can start flowing again. All right, my loves, thank you so much for joining. Give some likes and some hearts if this is resonating with you. And I hope you have a wonderful evening or day, wherever you are. Mwah. Lots of love.